Canon just announced two super telephoto lenses, the RF 800mm f5.6 and the RF 1200mm f8. Both of these lenses I'm keenly interested in. Now both are L series, so that means they're weather sealed, that's dust and moisture protection. Don't try dunking them in a bathtub or anything. And they're both image stabilized. Now the 800mm has 4.5 stops and the 1200mm has 4 stops. Now, these are very heavy lenses, well, at least compared to lenses like this, which is the 800mm f11. And I really do like this lens. It's a lot of fun. It's much lighter, but you're going to suffer from some chromatic aberration and some fringing and some other elements. And the autofocus system isn't as fast, but for an amateur, for somebody like me, this is an awful lot of fun. Now, both of these lenses weigh quite a bit more than that. The 1200mm weighs in at 7.5 pounds, whereas the 800mm weighs in at 6.9 pounds. I know, that's an awful lot. You definitely need some upper body strength there or walk around with a monopod. But compared to the old EF version of the 1200mm, it weighed a staggering 36 pounds. It was a very, very heavy lens. It's not something you want to take on a shoot with you if you're just by yourself. Tripod and gear, it would just become backbreaking. But these are looking to be very solid lenses. Like I said, they're both L series, they're both image stabilized, they're USM. These are professional grade lenses. They're built for professionals. They're built for people who want to shoot wildlife, people who want to shoot sports, or they're newsworthy, any sort of current event type stuff where you don't want to get too close to the action, but you want to capture the action. And of course, for anybody who's still shooting UFOs in the sky, whether they're these overexposed tic tacs or spherical objects, with this lens, you should be able to get up close and personal to be able to adjust the exposure so that way we can see the windows in these things and who knows, maybe even somebody waving. So they are professional lenses. They are going to get you the detail. They've got technology in them that helps protect against chromatic aberration and flaring, ghosting, and all that sort of stuff, including fringing. I'm going to read them off to you because it's late here, and if I don't, I'm probably going to say something like fluorite or something else when I want to say fluorite and super UD elements, and they're going to help with the fringing and the chromatic aberration. And the air sphere and super spectra coating will help minimize ghosting and flare, especially if you're shooting in a backlight type situation. Now, in terms of macro, well, these lenses definitely aren't, but the minimum focusing distance for the 800mm is 8.5, I believe. Yes, 8.5 feet and 14.1 for the 1200mm. Now, the maximum magnification is on the 800, 0.34 times, and 0.29 times on the 1200mm. Now, have I left anything out? Oh yes, so there are a couple of other things here. Now, what's really nice about the rotating color is, well, you can rotate it, so if you're going between landscape and portrait, especially with something of this weight, it's really nice to have that rotating color. It also has a 52mm drop-in at the front, which is also handy as well. These lenses are pretty exciting. Sadly for me, there's no sense in getting too excited over them because the price is going to make it so that it's completely out of my reach. I just won't be able to afford these. We don't sadly have the price at this point. B&H, they have a notify me. They don't even have the pre-order button yet, and there's no announcement on price. But I would be surprised if the 800mm costs much less than $15,000, and the 1200mm, that's a tough one to price here. The old EF version was around $108,000 the last time it was sold by Canon new, and I believe it was an f5.6. This is an f8, and I'm just going to throw out there $50,000. Consider it a Class C estimate. I don't know how credible that is going to be, but it gives you an order of magnitude of what this thing can cost, anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. It's definitely not going to be cheap. And the fact alone that it's about an order of magnitude of 5 times lighter than the previous EF version, well, that's going to make it a big win for many as well. But for me, definitely out of my price reach. But that's it for those two lenses. What I want to talk about now is other announcements we're expecting over the next 24 hours. According to various rumor sites, we are supposed to be getting some announcements by Canon Japan, and one of those was lenses, including the 800mm and 1200mm, which we just got announced by Canon USA. Also supposed to be announced are some other camera bodies. I heard the RP Mark II and a camera that sits between the RP and the R6, which we're more or less calling the EOS 2. But there's also the R7, and the R7 was supposed to be announced in March. That's according to Canon Rumors, which has it pegged as a CR2. So I'm really not too sure what we're supposed to get over the next 12 to 24 hours, but what I would do is keep your ear to the grindstone, or just simply subscribe to my channel, click notify all, and as soon as news comes out, I'll have it out to you within a couple of hours. And this news, I would have had it out to you a little sooner, but I was actually busy doing some other work at the time, and well, I just thought, you know, take care of that so I don't have to do that after this. But yeah, the next 12 to 24 hours is key, especially around 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's when I'd expect some more news to start to leak out. Doesn't look like I'm going to get much of a break. In terms of break, one other thing that you guys might be interested in, if you're not aware of this already, if you are, feel free to skip off at this point, but I'm giving away an Angelbird card, an AV Pro SE 512 gigabyte and an AV Pro SX 160 gigabyte CFexpress Type B card. The 500 gig, the 512 gig has a minimum sustained write speed of 800 megabytes per second, whereas the 160 has a minimum sustained write speed of 1,480 megabytes per second. So one's ideal for video, the other one's ideal for high-speed continuous sports shooting or anything high-speed continuous. All you have to do for your chance to win is subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be doing the prize at the end of this month. I'll probably do it in a live stream. You have to be at least 18 years of age, and you have to have a mailing address somewhere on the planet. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.